Good afternoon. Last week in our session, we discussed radical acceptance. Well, I don't know that we were able to get a good understanding of what radical acceptance is. So I'm going to review that concept again, and then we'll review it again in our next session. Increasing your ability to tolerate distress starts with a change in your attitude. You're going to need something called radical acceptance. Often when a person is in pain, his or her first reaction is to get angry or upset or to blame someone for causing the pain in the first place. But unfortunately, no matter who you blame for your distress, your pain still exists and you continue to suffer. In fact, in some cases, the angrier you get, the worse your pain will feel. Getting angry or upset over a situation also stops you from seeing what is really happening. Have you ever heard the expression, being blinded by rage? This often happens to people with overwhelming emotion, criticizing yourself all the time, or being overly judgmental of a situation is like wearing dark glasses indoors. By doing this, you're missing the details and not seeing everything as it really is. By getting angry and thinking that the situation should never have happened, you're missing the point that it did happen and that you have to deal with the fact that it happened. Being overly critical about a situation prevents you from taking steps to change that situation. You can't change the past. And if you spend your time fighting the past, wishfully thinking that your anger will change the outcome of an event that has already happened, you'll become paralyzed and helpless. Then nothing will improve. So just to review what we just said, being overly judgmental of a situation or overly critical of yourself often leads to more pain, missed details, and paralysis. A state of staying where you are, and it gives you no opportunity to move forward. Obviously, getting angry, upset, or critical doesn't improve a situation, so what else do we do? The other option is what radical acceptance suggests. It's to acknowledge your present situation, whatever it is, without judging the events or criticizing yourself. Instead, try to recognize that your present situation exists because of a long chain of events that began far in the past. So radical acceptance means looking at yourself and the situation and seeing it as it really is, just as it is. Keep in mind that radical acceptance doesn't mean that you condone or that you agree with bad behavior in others, but it does mean that you stop trying to change what happened by getting angry and blaming the situation. For example, if someone is in an abusive relationship and they need to get out of it, then get out. They shouldn't waste time and continue to suffer by blaming themselves or the other person. That doesn't help anything. Refocus the attention on what you can do now. Accepting the situation allows you to make a decision to change it. It allows you to think more clearly and figure out a better way to cope with your suffering. So last week we talked about radical accepting coping statements. And we talked about the 3 statements that we agreed with that were good statements for radical acceptance. And those statements were, it's no use fighting the past. And we said that statement can kind of be seen as good and bad. But then when we thought about it, and it puts us back into the present situation and allows us to be mindful, it allows us to remember there's no need to go back and fight what's already happened in the past. But what I can do is figure out the steps I can take to change the present. The next statement we liked was, the present is the only moment I have control over. That helped us to say, I can't think about behind me and I can't think about in front of me, but if I focus on my current situation and I focus on what I can control in the present, that is a statement that we felt could be used in radical acceptance as a good statement. The next statement was, it's a waste of time to fight what already occurred. Now, we did say that could be seen as negative and positive, but when we look at it in a positive light, why go back and fight about something that has already occurred? Why rehearse it? Why be overly judgmental about it? Why analyze it when we can't do anything about it? If we're living in the present situation, it's a waste of time to fight what's already happened. So the next exercise was radical acceptance, and it was using the coping statements that we checked and begin radically accepting different moments in your life without judging them. So what I would like for you to do is to think about those 3 statements we just talked about. I'm going to go over them again. It's no use fighting the past. Is there a situation in my life that there's no use fighting? And if what situation can I apply that coping statement to? How can I radically accept that this is currently my life and I don't have to fight the past? Think of 1 or 2 statements that can go with that. It's no use fighting the past. What are 2 of my situations, my personal life situations that I constantly have fought over in my mind? I've constantly judged myself about or judged someone else about. How can I say it's no use fighting about the past? The next statement is, the present is the only moment I have control over. So if I'm thinking about my present moment, I could be worrying about an event in the future. I could be worrying about what I'm going to face in the future, if it's going to be a situation I'm uncomfortable with, or whatever it is. The present is the only moment I have control over. That probably is my favorite statement because it gives you so much freedom. So what are 2 statements that can apply to that one? Then the last one, it's a waste of time to fight what's already occurred. It's a waste of time to fight what's already occurred. So what is something that I have possibly harbored over for years? And I'm fighting over it in my mind. I'm over analyzing it in my mind, or I'm thinking about it, or it's affecting my every move, affecting everything I do. It's a waste of time to fight what's already occurred. How do I get back to the present moment and say that it's a waste of time to continue doing that? So the assignment is this. I want you to look at those 3 statements, those 3 radical acceptance coping statements that I just said. It's no use fighting the past. The present is the only moment I have control over, and it's a waste of time to fight what's already occurred. And then what I want you to do is use those radically accepting statements and apply 2 of your destructive behaviors to those radically accepting statements. So let me see if I can give you an example. If it says, the present is the only moment I have control over. Well, I'm constantly frustrated about maybe not reaching a goal of, let's say I'm trying to open a business. This is a simple illustration, but it probably goes a lot deeper than this. Let me see if I can find something else. Say I was in a bad relationship. And I'm angry with myself for choosing to be in that relationship. I'm angry with the hurt that it's caused. I'm angry with the domino effects that it's caused. So what I like to say is, it's no use fighting myself